Greetings, salutations, and other big words. My name's Ethan. My handle is Wrangler. Welcome to Frequency Studios, Weekly Wing It number 113 here on Rumble and YouTube. And starting it off with us tonight is Mr. Frederick Guimond.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Coming to you live from Quebec City, Canada, where it's been snowing all week, and you can't get around on the sidewalks because they're just too filled with snow. You got to walk in the street with the cars and pray that you won't get... But yeah, it's going great. I'm inking some John Byrne tonight from the Phoenix Saga.
Ooh.
All
and
right.
I've got Otter's commission on the side here. So as soon as I feel warmed up with the inking, I'm going to get started cracking on that one.
Sweet. And also joining us tonight, the guy who made the intro I played just a moment ago, Mr. James Esparza.
Guy or pug. Because on the internet, nobody knows you're a space pug from 20 gazillion light years away. Yet here I am. Hello, dear friends. I am glad you can join us this evening. And yeah, I'll be showing off some books later on, sooner rather than later. I got my book cam up and running, if people remember the book cam, because I am a collector of old magazines and books and literature. So
hey, you haven't shown those off in a while.
In a while, yes, I was and still am collecting the illustrative magazine titled 1994. I have one issue in the mail, and once it arrives, I will have all but one issue out of the entire collection. So it's very exciting. I'm close to the end, and then I'll expand my collection to the previous title, which was 1984. That was the magazine's original title, but they were forced to change it because it was too close to the book.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I never even knew about that. Anyway, also joining us is King Bob, a.k.a. Gino.
Konbanwa. I'll have to leave early.
Oh, boy.
So I'll stay here for a bit, but yeah. It's good to see you guys.
All right.
It always is.
Hanging while you can.
Nice to see you, King Bob.
And over in the chat, first one in tonight, Christy. How you doing tonight, Christy? Also, King Bob doing his double dipping. And we are also joined by Andrew Campbell. He says, what's happening? Good to see you, Andrew. See, he says, book collections are great until you have to move. Oh, yeah, until you have to move. And the boxes for books get quite heavy quite quickly.
Oh, yes, they do.
Frederick.
Yes.
You said you got a video for us to react to.
Oh, I do. Well, let me pull it up over here. So this is kind of a cringe little clip that we got from James Gunn.
Ooh,
and
Gunn.
Superman here. Hold on, let me pull it up. Share screen.
Is he woke?
James Gunn, he had a different kind of problem a while back. Here we go.
Yeah, that might put him under the woke banner for safety.
Now, I have not seen this yet. I know nothing about it. Frederick, obviously, you've seen it. Has anyone else seen this yet?
Don't think so.
No, I think it's been out since yesterday, but hasn't made the rounds really. Here we go. Shaq was shook when he met the real Superman. Let's go. NBA on TNT.
Biceps, too small. Boots will never fit. And the belt, not that thin anymore. I thought I sent in my sizes.
Oh, business and basketball legend Shaquille O'Neal. What are you doing here?
I'm just meeting with the director, James Gunn. I'm gonna be in this new Superman movie. Ain't that right, James?
Oh my God, I'm so glad you guys connected. It's not every day you get to meet the OG superhero. David, I want you to meet my buddy Shaq. Shaq, I want you to meet Superman. You see the resemblance?
Suit doesn't fit anyway.
Oh, Shaq, don't be like, what are you doing, dude? Come on, man.
You should have chose me, Mr. Gunn.
Dude, don't be like that, Shaq.
You know, you would look great in the suit.
Come on, I didn't even tell you about the cool cameo I offered Barkley.
Barkley. Dun, 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 dun,
okay, Shaq's being a ham as usual. That's what everybody loves him for. But
Yeah.
I guess
Pretty-
the F. Barkley part was kind of funny.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I'm good with that.
didn't Shaq play Steel?
Steel?
Yes,
You remember the Death
I
of
had
Superman
that.
arc? John
I had
David
that on
Adams?
VHS.
Was it steel or was it blue steel?
Oh, it was Steel. It was on VHS. I had it, and I thought it was so cool as a kid. But looking back, I was like, man, I had no media literacy. It was terrible.
Yeah, but in the Death of Superman story arc in the original DC comics, when Superman died, 4 others popped up. One was a clone that became Connor Kent. One was Eradicator, and I cannot remember the convoluted story behind that one. And then there was Cyborg Superman, and then one guy who just took inspiration from him. He built himself a metal armor. He was a metal worker, so he built himself an armor suit and used a big old sledgehammer, and he called himself Steel, and he had the big S on his chest. And that's what that movie was based on. Now, James, in the movie, I haven't seen it. Did Shaq's character, and I'm assuming his name was still John Henry Irons, did he build that out of inspiration from Superman, or did the movie have nothing to do with Superman?
I don't ever remember them mentioning Superman. I didn't even know it was a DC character, to be honest. So
Yeah,
there
he
you go.
he was one of the 4 Superman. It was during the right after the death of Superman. There was the Reign of Superman story arc, and he was one of the 4. Connor Kent was the coolest, especially when they did the Marvel DC crossover and had him fight Spider-Man, but Spider-Man beat him. And this wasn't even Peter Parker; it was Ben Reilly. So,
Oh no.
yeah, from what I understand, Connor Kent is his power. The power creep is real, and that probably wouldn't play out the same way today. But I mean, he didn't have his powers. He was a clone and didn't have his powers on par with the original Superman. But one thing that they did have and I think they kind of ended up using this with Superman as well to explain why he could pick something up he'll pick up a big truck, which the truck can't structurally support itself, but it doesn't fall apart when he does. Call it tactile telekinesis. When Connor Kent would grab something, he can pick it up and keep it all in one piece because he's kind of telekinetically doing it, but he has to be in contact to do it. So, Christina asks, how did Superman die? It was Doomsday. It was their first big fight with Doomsday, and yeah, Doomsday killed him. But I think the story went, even while he was lying there, apparently dead, his body was absorbing the solar radiation. It was just barely keeping him alive, and eventually made a comeback. But yeah, Doomsday, that's what he was made for. He was made to be the death of Superman.
Yes. What really killed Superman, though, was that DC had really bad sales, along with Marvel.
Yeah.
Yep. And they
Due
needed
to,
to do
due to
something.
poor writing. Yeah, poor writing killed Superman.
Yeah, and well, the Image guys were coming out and making bang.
Yeah, Spawn.
At least the first year, and then things just went downwards from there.
Yeah, a few indies popped up from there and became bigger,
Yes.
I think, because Image, I think, was Dark Horse Comics an indie studio startup at the time.
Dark Horse was already around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dark Horse didn't offer because Image was created to have basically the best offer for artists in terms of keeping the rights to what they create. Dark Horse was just like what? It's a subset of. Is it a part of DC or not? Dark
I really
Horse.
don't know. I'm a bad nerd, I guess.
Pretty sure it's a part of DC, but I'd have to look it up to be.
Yeah, I
100%
think
sure.
so as well. But it never mixes with the parent company, and it's reserved for more stories that are more kind of. I mean, a lot of the alien stuff was through Dark Horse. You had a lot of Hellboy or Mike Mignola art through there as well. Yeah, I think you had more mature subject matter and maybe more artsy stuff in there. But I didn't really follow.
I think
Dark Horse
Marvel
so
has
much.
Predator now.
Do they?
Yeah.
I wonder what
And
they're going to do with that.
And they're making these predators so OP. Like one was like kicking Wolverine's butt or something. I'm like,
Huh.
yeah. And based on what I see in the movies, the comic versions must be a lot more potent than their cinematic counterparts. Because the superheroes would rip through a predator based on what I've seen on screen. In the comics, I'm clueless, so that might not apply.
I wish they'd use more stealth when it comes to the Predator, because I would love just to see an all stealth kill, him wiping out like an entire group of people, stealthing it. But these days, when you see Predator, he always just gotta reveal himself a bit too much.
Well,
missed,
they are more hunter than assassin.
Yeah, that's true. But if you
Like,
watch that
if
first
somebody's
movie,
unarmed, they don't take them.
yeah, but if you watch that first movie, they were perfectly fine with just like decloak, shoot, get the fuck out. They were perfectly fine with it.
Good point.
And I think that was just mainly because they wanted the mysticism of the creature.
Yeah, they weren't looking to
they
make it a
didn't-
whole ongoing, long-running IP
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah. And then you see they keep some of that in part 2. They keep some of it, but that's where they unveil themselves a bit more.
Yeah, and to be fair, they could not have planned everything that happened because they even changed the whole look of the creature
Yeah.
while they were making the movie.
And they
Well,
probably had not a clue how iconic it would become.
It doesn't
No.
matter. On Pugland, there is no forgiveness. They are guilty.
Especially considering how ugly the first version was.
They took a lot of. I noticed that like a lot of Alien stuff back then, including Predator, including the movie Alien, very female genitalia oriented.
Christina says, after work, I choose thriller horror over hero movies. That's because you're sick in the head, but we love you anyway. No, she does. She loves her. She also loves the serial killer documentaries, all that stuff.
Yeah.
She gets into it.
Yeah, nice.
So are you talking about
God.
documentaries about serial killers or documentaries made by serial killers?
Maybe both.
If they're made by serial killers, I don't think we're aware of it.
I don't know. Son of Sam's still alive. Maybe he'll pick up a camera, start tweeting or something. Hey, coming at you from the cell block. What's happening? Son of Sam chilling out.
Christy says both.
I don't know. I kill a bowl of cereal sometimes every morning.
Heyo.
Yeah, what was
When-
it?
when the,
Reese's Puffs.
When the pugs arrive, he will be spared.
That's not fair.
Dahmer on Dahmer.
Is that a documentary where he kind of gives a autobiography of himself?
I'll let her answer that. I have no freaking clue.
There's a few on Charles Manson, even though he didn't really kill anybody. He was just like,
Yeah.
He just
I get it.
manipulated others into doing it. The dude's crazy.
He was just working for the CIA,
I,
allegedly.
I have heard a large sum of stories and had the privilege to edit a few interviews that were around Charles Manson, and there's a few stories going around. One of which was that it was, and I remember there being a fair amount of evidence, but I can't recall it right off the top of my head, that it may have been a drug bust gone wrong, because one of the people there was actually one of the people that died was a premier drug dealer for all the celebrities, and he had recently gave a large sum of drugs to Tex, who was the guy who was there that
Yeah, Tex was
did
the
the killing.
main killer, right? He's kind of the guy
yes.
who led the family to do the killing.
Yes,
But
and if I'm recalling,
something's really strange about that killing. Like,
Yeah.
I never bought it because What's her name? Sharon Tate?
Sharon Tate, yeah.
If you look at the autopsy, well, it's not an autopsy. If you look at the photos of the murder scene, first of all, the wounds are not, she's smiling. She has a big smile on her face on the murder scene, and it's hard to believe that a cadaver would have like a beautiful young woman's peaceful smile on her face, on her.
I have to look into that, like the psyche of someone when they're dying. But I remember one thing that they mentioned, that it was a bit of a cover up on the police's part, because I forgot which actor. It was like one of the largest actors there, but apparently, like, what the family was really into was drugs and pornography, and they basically filmed their own porns and shit, and kind of just, do shit tons of drugs and pass around the ladies. And there may have been, I have to relook all this because now I'm reinterested in it. There may have been a gentleman there who was one of the largest actors in the world, in Hollywood, in the pool house in the back, having gay sex with a male prostitute, and that may have been part of the cover up, was to cover up the fact that he was there, because then back in the day, you're the largest Hollywood star and you're having gay sex with the prostitute, there goes your entire career. So I need to look back into that, but I remember that being a compelling amount of evidence, while I was traveling the universe and taking over planets.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I've heard interviews about the topic as well. Charles Manson was apparently going down to Mexico to do some work, and that's after he did some jail time, which you can't leave. You can't cross the border like that.
Oh yeah.
After you've
There's definitely
been
some
incarcerated.
CIA tie to that guy. That's for sure.
Yeah, that led people to believe that someone was overseeing his.
Yeah. Not only that, but like, he was arrested a number of times and he was just let out like in no time whatsoever.
Really? I had no idea.
Oh, he was. He had a
I
criminal history.
I don't know my history on him at all.
And there's also a free clinic that his family used to frequent that had a connection to Jolly West, and Jolly West was heavily involved in MK Ultra.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there may be something there, or maybe it was just a fucking free clinic.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense because of this ties to the LSD aspect to the cult and everything. And Charles Manson was the face that stopped the hippie movement. Like, his killings on the front page kind of killed the whole peace and love movement from then on.
Yep, and the hippie movement itself was had strong ties to possible government connections.
Indeed.
It's all
Doesn't
crazy
seem
how
so
there's
crazy
dots.
nowadays.
There's dots everywhere that somehow just line up but too perfectly.
Yeah, it's like Jim Morrison being like one of the most famous hippies, and his dad being I think he was the leading person on the navy, what's it called, on the vessel,
An
that
admiral.
was he was the admiral on the vessel in the Gulf of Tonkin.
Yeah, Gulf Tonkin incident. He was in charge.
Yeah, which was what kicked off the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
Psychopath.
Yeah, who knows? There's a lot of dots out there. There's a lot of dots. Who knows where they connect? Picture Vator.
And you all lead back to some mastermind waiting to just get you on their Dexter table.
They all lead back to USAID.
They lead back to...
I feast on your fears.
They lead back to Jared Leto's house. Have you heard about that one, James?
I haven't. Tell me.
That's interesting. Jared Leto is an interesting character. He bought the house on the mountain. a famous comedian referenced that house. So a lot of people would go up there. George Carlin has an interview where he talks about it. So people would get an invitation to go to the house on the mountain. And this is prior to Jared Leto owning it. Like, it is believed to be maybe military tied, maybe perhaps MK Ultra tied, celebrity department, because the celebrities would get, or the new comedians, new actors, young wannabe celebrities would get invited to this house on the mountain and would come back, kind of changed a little bit, like something happened, and then they'd move on up in the celebrity, celebrity kick
Status.
Yeah, and so apparently this was a special place where they'd be doing like maybe perhaps mind control, something like that. And Jared Leto bought the house when it was up for
Ooh.
sale after it was no longer used for that purpose.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting
Fucking dark
stuff.
Hollywood, man.
Shady backdoor deals going on.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know. Have you seen Jared Leto? I'm not sure it's not still used for that purpose.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him lately, but I imagine he probably doesn't look all that different than he did when I saw him as the Joker.
Last time I saw him,
Horrible
he reminded me of the 4R beans from Planet Yarvon, just with more hair.
You space pugs in your stories.
Words of wisdom.
So what's Jupiter like?
Jupiter, well, it's there. Last time I went, the weather was a little crazy. Didn't stay long.
You
Just
had
hit
the
the
perfect
refueling.
opportunity to say gassy, and you didn't take it.
Well, it's Jupiter. It's a given. Yeah, it just filled up and left. Yeah, it's really just a giant gas station.
Mhm.
It's owned by Arabs. That's what they're not telling you, okay? The Arabs, they got their own underground space station, and they own Jupiter. Not the
Wait,
best
wait.
planet to own, but
Underground.
Underground space station.
That's some
Uh,
fancy tech.
well,
We call that an oxymoron.
You think that's crazy? You should check out the Jews and their space lasers.
That's right.
I don't think there's anything crazy about that.
No idea why, but they're aimed directly at the
Jewish
moon.
space laser.
Because the Nazis are there. Didn't you know
Maybe.
that?
Wait a minute. I thought the Nazis were in South Antarctica, or was it
Both things can be true.
Argentina?
Oh, yeah, that too.
Belarus.
No, they're on the dark side of the moon.
Wait. If the Nazis are on the moon, we got to fix this because the moon is made of cheese, and I like cheese, and we got to keep
Well,
the Nazis.
unfortunately, we have confirmed it is not made of cheese.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't
It's
like the
made
moon
of-
anymore.
It's made of peanut butter.
Oh, I like the moon again. Peanut butter.
And the
rock.
dark side is mainly chocolate.
Does anybody actually know what movie I'm talking about?
Yes, Iron Skies.
Okay, thank goodness.
Yeah.
I seen
yeah.
the first one. It was quite ridiculous.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was stupid but funny, and
Yes,
just
very
a-
much.
yeah, it was what it made to do. It did well.
It's a
Yeah.
stupid, over-the-top movie with Nazis that we can all like popcorn flick. Just sit back and enjoy.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not
Like
a
Interstellar.
well-made movie. Hey, don't you start?
No, I don't think it has any pretension either.
Interstellar is kind of like an accidental Christian movie once it
Ugh.
centers around love.
I'm just sick of having to explain the damn movie.
I mean, I get it.
I get the movie, but it
think-
it dragged.
I don't get the part where NASA's bombing civilians.
Hmm.
They're
It's because
NASA. They like rockets and bombs.
because they lost their funding. Because Trump took over.
Yeah, that may have just been a because the guy, your main character, was like he was in NASA and he said, "Oh, I refuse to drop bombs on civilians." I'm like, wait a minute, but you're NASA. Shouldn't you like be a military pilot?
Yes. All NASA pilots are military pilots.
All of them,
Every one.
even the Nazis.
Even the Nazis.
They're also
Interesting.
Freemasons.
I know why they
Really?
went bad. Because they got too close to Uranus.
Well, you
Oh,
know,
man.
not even the Newfies settled for Uranus. They settled for Pluto.
But Pluto's
Hey,
not a
Pluto's
planet.
awesome.
You tell the
Pluto's not
Newfies
even a
that.
planet. It's been delisted.
Well, don't say that to the Newfies. They still think it's a planet, and most of them are there.
It is a planet. It's a specific type of planet. It's a dwarf planet, but it is still a planet. Or else planet
it?
wouldn't be in the name.
Well,
Dwarf
actually,
planet?
there's debate on that too,
Oh boy.
being a dwarf planet or not.
I did hear that it was delisted into just a giant floating iceberg.
Well,
No,
there's
that's in
some
Newfoundland.
moons are the same size, so
Oh.
Yeah, and wouldn't that make it a binary planet?
I don't know. We should ask Neil
If one of
deGrasse.
the moons is the same size and their what is it? The Lagrange point, the point that they're all orbiting, is outside the surface of Pluto, so therefore it's a binary dwarf planet.
yeah, I've heard that one too.
I haven't. That's interesting.
All right, Christy, thanks for stopping in. Hope you feel better. Maybe we'll
Bye.
see you in a bit if you're feeling better.
Get well soon, Christina.
And Christy loves Pluto. Let it be known.
Very well.
Are you
I
talking
love
about
them.
the dog Pluto from Disney, like Mickey's dog Pluto?
Yeah.
He's pretty funny.
Remember that episode of Supernatural where Sam and Dean went to an auction that was like they were all like demigods and demons and stuff bidding for magical items, and
Oh, how fun.
the auction was being run by Pluto, the god of greed. And when Dean met him, he said, "Pluto, are you even a planet anymore?"
Pluto gets no respect.
Right?
It deserves no respect. It's Newfoundland
Exactly.
2.0.
Newfoundland.
Newfoundland.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
was thinking new and Finland is separate words, and I just read
Newfoundland.
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 Making fun of the Newfies.
There you go.
And man, if you hear them talk, whee, you think Quebecois is hard. Holy crap.
Yeah, some of my best friends are Newfies. I went to visit down there once. It's a pretty nice place as well. Like they have actual glaciers, icebergs that float up to the shore, and they get the ice from the iceberg to make vodka from. So that's
Nice.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, man. Wherever you go, man will find ingenuity to make booze.
That's right.
Yeah.
We have our priorities, you know.
It reminds me, I got a book about flowers last month.
Ooh, yeah, you showed me that.
Yes, it's a book about flowers from the 1930s.
What do
Go
you
ahead.
say?
Behold, the book can. Allow me to move slightly. This is Wildflowers by Homer D. House.
Look at those pug paws.
Yeah, the
Exactly.
cover, the
That cover's
binding
gorgeous.
is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a special edition, and it has hundreds of illustrations within it. Many colored illustrations. It's 1935.
It was just a little bit before I was born.
It's got many examples and drawn images here, and it's got written descriptions of hundreds of different plants and flowers. So there's a lot to go through here for the nature lover, and almost every other page is either jam-packed with information or some excellent images like these right here. These are very nice. So we can get these better in frame.
Just 10 years shy of a century old.
It's getting there. It's getting there. So give a description, and then it will show you a lovely large portrayal of
He
the
was talking
images.
about his age, James. He was talking about himself.
That's fine,
Young
too.
whippersnapper. No, what's amazing is this is from 35. I didn't know they would have color photos in there.
Yeah, very.
Yeah. Everything was in black and white back in 1935.
Yep.
Was it? Okay, so
Mhm.
this might have been a reprint later on then.
No, the world didn't have black or didn't have color. Like the
Color
whole
wasn't
world.
invented until after the Second World War.
Yeah,
All
it
right.
was all black and white before then.
Mhm.
Interesting, because I seen this one, this exact version with that year on it. When I looked it up, I have to take a second gander to see if you can find a separate year, because I found 3 different versions with that year on it for this exact book right here.
3 different printings in the same year. Must have been a popular book that year.
No, I mean, I went about looking for the exact version, because this one has actually been printed a good number of times, but this exact cover was very difficult to find.
Oh, okay.
You'd find a lot of the reprints, the very simple ones, which I love buying for just basic consumption. But this one, honestly, was just fell into my lap. So I went and looking for the year. And
You got it cheap, right?
So that's probably the publication year, not the
Mhm.
necessarily the year this particular copy was printed.
Yeah, true. But yes, this one I got pretty cheap, as in free, because
Wow.
here's the thing: most people do not have an appreciation for books. They really don't.
It's true.
They see a book, and if it looks torn, looks worn, looks old, they don't see value. It's just something that they're going to toss aside a lot of the time. Unfortunately, that's something that I've noticed, and I've gotten my hands on quite a few really great books for next to nothing or completely free. If you're not going to like a book collector place, say if you go to a thrift store, you have no idea what you're going to find at a thrift store book-wise. You can find some very rare books, especially the worn out, run down thrift stores for some reason seem to have the best old books. I think it's because people just don't go to those and search for this sort of thing. And maybe if you do with, say, some of the more popular ones that people would go to, you know, they might get scooped up very easily. Or maybe they even do more of a, I guess, price check on the literature compared to the other ones. So they might put those in the back and sell them later, because I have found a large sum of books, and this one I got this one for free just because nobody wanted it.
Now, when you eventually pick a place to move to, you better have yourself a nice big library room.
That's what
You need the
I'm
space.
planning. I'm planning. I already got multiple big cases for all my different books that I've collected. That's kind of actually what's holding up the camera right here.
More books.
Books, yeah, they're good for that too. Well, bookcases
A
that
million.
are for storage. But yeah, as you can see, there's just hundreds of images in this thing.
Are you going to have like display cases, like it's behind a glass cabinet?
I would love to have that one day. I would, because especially a book with such a cover like this one. This is really great. A little worn on the side, but it's really just got this archaic feel to it. It's very enjoyable.
People don't
Yeah,
put that
the
much
leather
work
bound has that
into.
effect.
Yeah, they don't put that much work into covers anymore or binding like that.
Yeah.
Except for Shad, of course.
All
Yeah,
right,
sometimes.
I gotta go.
All right, King Bob.
Alright,
Thanks for stopping
our
in.
friend.
Shout out anything you want on your way out.
Well, I still got my website. I still review books. I'm reading Brian McCoppin's book right now, Record of Paladins. So far, pretty good. So I'll have a review for that as soon as I finish it.
That's what I'm going to be reading too once I finish up The Wrench in the Machine and Bound for the Sticks.
Oh, I got a rebound for the sticks too. I got that somewhere. But yeah, you guys have a great night. I will
Thank you.
see you guys later, or on Discord every once in a while.
Alrighty. You have a good one. Thanks for coming
Yeah.
in.
See you around.
Good night, all.
Bye bye. Bye bye. What a word. So yeah, that's a new addition to my collection in the book department. While I continue my magazine hunt.
Yeah, I don't have any. The newest thing I have to show off is Phenomenal Tales #1 from what's his name? Patrick what?
Finland.
Quinlan.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Oh, duh, it's right there. I could have read it instead of asking you. Sorry, Patrick, if you see this, I forgot your last name. But I got this and Phenomenon #1. I got them both in.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my copies. Should take
I
a little
haven't-
bit more time in Canada. It's been, you got yours like a week ago, right?
Yeah, I haven't read them yet. I'll probably read Phenomenon before I read Phenomenal Tales.
Are you planning on doing a review for any of those, or
I don't know.
haven't thought about it? Yeah.
I have to read it before I can make that choice, and then
Oh,
once I decide whether I want to or not, I got to make sure it's okay with the author if I do so.
yeah, because Immortal Rising, he still remembers the review you did for his comic book. Like he's very fond of the.
I'm glad he enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And when I make these things, I think about that. It's like, hey, when I make something, if I turn on YouTube and find someone covering it, what would I want to see?
Yeah.
And I try to make a review like that, so it's kind of like a cross between Comics Explained and my sense of humor.
That's good. I did an unboxing once because these guys had made such a great fucking packaging, and everyone on Twitter was like showing still pictures of the packaging. I was like, someone needs to do an unboxing, and I was like, well, I'm going to be the one that's going to have to do it, I guess. And they are very, very much appreciated it as well. But damn, they put like so much attention. Like even the sticker closing the plastic bag of the comic was a custom made sticker with their logo on it. It was like incredible
Nice.
attention to detail that I've never seen in an indie before. So it was impressive.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Immortal Rising, I think #2 is coming out very soon. If not, is it already out? Or I don't think so.
I don't know.
Because I definitely got to check that out.
Yeah.
After going through it a couple times to make the coverage video for it, I kind of got attached to that book. I'm like, I want to see more of this. Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Well, let's see. What I think I did the full spoiler coverage on the Private American, Immortal Rising, Aguila, and the Metroid manga.
Private American's been put on hold now because of the election.
Really?
Mike was saying that things are going too well and too positively. Well, this is me like kind of paraphrasing, but in other words, he was kind of planning Private American for the bleak outlook of a Harris victory, And since Trump has won, I think he's shifting that one to the side and focusing on other books instead. He's got a Sherlock book coming out. I ordered that one. That one looks good with a nice hardcover, and you got a lot of old style Jules Verne kind of characters in there as well. The submarine, Journey to the Sea vibes. I'm looking forward to that one from Mike Barron.
Yeah, I do hope he decides to pick up the Private American again anyway.
Yes, especially
Because,
coming from the man who was writing the Punisher back in the day.
Exactly. And I really hope De La Garza did end up surviving that snake bite because I want to see him go head to head with Chris. De La Garza is the one who killed Gus. So his brother Chris should be able to take a crack at him. So I hope he didn't just actually kill him off. I'm going to give this a shot, see if it works this time without lagging.
Let's
Get
do it.
the tunes going.
Yeah. It just might work.
So if that music starts lagging and chugging, let me know and I'll cut the screen share off. It really does have that 90s dance. In fact, this part right here, you guys can hear it, right?
Not currently.
You can hear it now, right?
Nope. I could hear it prior to the stream.
You guys can't hear this?
Nope, not currently.
Oh, I see why. Hang on.
Oh, there you go. It's coming through.
Okay. Okay, this part right here. This tune reminds me of Streets of Rage.
Oh,
You ever played that
yeah.
in Sega Genesis?
That game was famous for its music.
Yeah. I mean, this song, they don't all sound like Streets of Rage songs, but this part of this song just reminded me of Streets of Rage, that little thing it's doing
Yeah.
right there.
It sounds like techno music, like old school house or trance.
Yeah, we got the same vibe going.
It's kind of cool, though, the make it look like a barely 16-bit version of Emmy right there. When she's 3D, when she's a 3D polygon of the game.
Oh,
They
not
also
those old
got
school.
her using an old school Atari joystick.
Yeah, those were not. They weren't as good as they seemed. You know, like you never knew if you were going, like if it was working or not. It was. Yeah, I don't have any nostalgia for those old joysticks, to be honest. I had some better
I
ones
don't
on the
either,
Commodore.
but since this is a game, since this game is a successor to one that came off the Atari 2600, they kept paying homage to that. Got
Of
the
course.
Atari logo above her head. She's using old school Atari joystick. I mean, it was all. This is a game that's tied to Yar's Revenge, and being on the 2600.
Oh,
They wanted
Yar's
to
Revenge. Isn't that the
really
same guy
Easter egg that
who?
up.
That's the same guy who did the E.T. game, I believe. Yeah,
Yeah, he did their best seller and their worst seller.
yeah. And he
But Yar's
He's-
Revenge was like one of their best.
yeah, he's a great programmer. It's not because he was bad that he made the worst game in the world. He actually knew what he was doing. It's just it was a bit too ahead of its time and too convoluted for an Atari game. And they were also
And they
crunched
gave
by
him,
time.
I think, very little time to make it happen.
Say again? I know they were
I
pressed
think we
for
said the
time
same
because
thing. I said they
Yeah.
gave him very little time to make it happen.
oh yeah, exactly because the ET movie was coming out and they wanted to time it so everything was coming out during the same time or for Christmas or
Hell,
something.
animation overload.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to have to do this. I had to stop it because my computer was just lagging real bad. And
Or like a lot of games sucked.
sorry about
Like,
that.
A lot of games sucked, but ET was kind of it's because there were so many of them. They printed so many copies of that game. But there
Yeah,
was
that
other
game was
bad games.
borderline unplayable too, unfortunately.
Yeah, but it was not the
Be
only
right
bad
back.
game on Atari. Like Atari suffered from the games didn't require licenses, so people were flooding the market for cartridges that would work on the Atari. And that's a lesson that Nintendo learned because Atari basically crashed the gaming market. Even though it was still a new market, it was like really going well for a while, then it crashed. And Nintendo kind of started when everything was down, but they had the principles down well. Like they forced people to license their games to be able to work on a Nintendo system. So that kept the games to a minimum and it stopped the, flooding of choice on the market. And I mean, when you have a lot of crap on the market, that just makes all the games look worse.
Yeah, well, Nintendo kind of hasn't changed all that much, have they? I mean, but even though they do things differently, they're just off doing their own thing. And doing so, they're kind of winning the console wars because Xbox I think, is kind of sort of going away.
Yeah.
Sony's struggling.
Yeah, but you got a new player now. Steam Deck has come into play.
Yep.
Valve has created basically a console computer, a computer and a console, and other companies have developed kind of their offshoots of that. So now you have a whole lot of Steam-based consoles that either work on Windows or the Steam OS.
Yeah, and but because Nintendo made really good first-party games, and you can only play them on a Nintendo, that allows them to actually still make good sales with their console because all these other games you can play them on pretty much any console. Nintendo games you can only play on a Nintendo console.
Yeah.
So by having good first quality games, that's how they're winning the console war. But here's where they're shooting themselves in the foot with Metroid. Yeah. How long was it going to be before I brought that one up, huh?
It was to be expected, right?
Yeah. The thing is, all their IPs, they're cutesy and fun. You got Mario, you got Link, you got Donkey Kong, you got the Squidlings there for what was it? Splatoon. All the Splatoon Inklings there, and they're all cartoonish, light, friendly. Then you have Metroid, a serious, somewhat horror-based sci-fi game that's serious and takes a lot of thought.
Metroid had a great tone to it. Like you felt you were in another world instantly.
Yep.
It felt like you were hearing like drops of water or liquid in an echo of caverns. It's beautiful.
But here's what hurts it. That's a very different tone from the rest of Nintendo's IP. And being locked onto a Nintendo console, I think actually is holding Metroid back. Because people who would play Halo or Call of Duty and stuff, they might get into Metroid Prime. But they don't have Switches because they got Xbox or Sony because those are the ones that have all the first-person shooters. So I think by keeping Samus locked to a Nintendo console, it's holding her back. Because like I said, very different tone from the rest of Nintendo's IP. So most of the people going to Nintendo are going for those cutesy games. The people who would play things like Metroid already have the other consoles.
I mean, yeah, but you know that's how Nintendo be. That's how they survive this entire time.
Yep.
Keep their games scarce on their console,
Yeah.
and they got a good market strategy that's worked out for them over the years. People like to, focus on Sony and Xbox, but really, like, you never hear about Nintendo having the issues that these other two companies really have.
That's
I mean,
right,
not
yeah.
saying they're issue free, but like they're really the powerhouse that they don't want you to know they are. They being the competition, because
Yeah.
they will outlive them, and their games constantly sell. Their consoles, even the duds, sell decently, and they get more hits than they do losses.
They're kind of like the Disney of video games, back when Disney was good, not the actual day Disney.
Yeah, they really are.
In the
while
terms that they
is
have a
hurting Metroid,
solid brand, and
It
people,
does.
families, mothers and fathers will trust the brand for their
Yeah.
kids.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
you got kids, you can buy them a Nintendo and you'll be safe,
But while it does kind of hurt Metroid and holds it back a bit, it also, overall, in general, for the overall, it's working. It's working for them real well. And so why would they stop? They shouldn't. And frankly, I would be bummed if I saw Samus show up on a PlayStation or Xbox, even though it'd probably be good for the series.
Perhaps. It's also got to take into account that Samus, I think they may actually do better on like the Xbox, because if you really look up the usual lineup of Nintendo guys, they're more Mario-esque, and Samus kind of feels more like a more like one of the more hardcore shooters, and I could see him in a decent lineup of games coming alongside like the next Halo game. Fits like Samus could fit right there and
Yeah.
take some Halo fans, but yeah, it would benefit Samus, but Nintendo's good at Nintendo, and that's their like little segment of the Halo verse.
I'm not going to hold that against them, though, because
Yeah, it works.
overall, it is working for them, and they need to stick to what they know works. Especially with everything as volatile as it is now, sticking to principles is their best bet.
Yeah, for sure. Like we're seeing a lot of games, the game companies making mistakes, especially at the managerial level, the top level.
Yeah,
I think Nintendo's been smart not to play the DEI game. They haven't played the ideology game, and they're still putting out a lot of good stuff as well. And even if they have like a couple of duds, overall they have just a solid market because they sell the consoles, they sell the games. They control a good chunk of the
yes, and they also
of their whole
sell
game system.
video game appliances,
Mhm.
because they have a ton that come out with every single console.
You mean like accessories? What do you mean by appliances?
Oh yeah. Sometimes they have full-blown attachments, like you have the GameCube had an attachment that'll allow you to attach your Game Boy Advance to it, and you would have basic like accessories, like the Wii had a little Wii Sports bundle that came with like a bat, a tennis racket, and some a golf club thing that you kind of put your Wii remote inside. Has like a slot for the Wii remote for Wii Sports, and they always had a shit ton of this extra stuff for the console itself.
Yeah, and the Wii was like their least successful, well, not counting Game Boy Advance, but like of the mainstream consoles, the Wii was kind of a dip in sales, wasn't it? Like it was.
It was the Wii U.
Oh,
the
the
Wii-
Wii U.
The Wii U was, yeah.
It was such a bad thing. I didn't know the Wii U existed until its run was over.
Wow, that's pretty bad. I know the Wii was a sleeper hit. I've seen it coming. I was excited. I bought one day one. But let me tell you.
Can you just remind me what's the difference between a Wii and a Wii U?
So the Wii U kind of incorporated a kind of a pad, almost like an iPad sort of thing.
Yeah, tablet type control thing.
Yeah. You had a tablet you controlled the game with on your TV.
Okay.
And that would be essentially what inspired the Switch to essentially, to a large degree. But the Switch was what everybody kind of wanted the Wii U to be. And that was where your iPad or the tablet could just be completely detachable from the console.
Yeah.
That's kind of what people really wanted, but didn't get. The games had to be like, was more like a Game Boy Advanced, where you had two different screens you had to interact with. The screen on your tablet and the one on, the screen. And the Wii was essentially the introduction to motion controls.
Yes. Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
And they had like
Definitely the first ones to do it well.
They stole the market that year about all the releases.
It really changed everything because like people were coming out with like bowling games and very different games than previous iterations had.
Hail Stormcrow, how you doing?
Hey,
hello,
Stormcrow.
Stormy.
How's it going, my man?
Busy
Or
as
Captain
ever.
Garrett likes to call him Gentle Stormcrow.
Are you still down in Florida, Stormcrow?
Yeah, the Wii stole the market. It completely outsold PlayStation 3, and it just destroyed Xbox. And I remember when it was first coming out, everybody was just talking about Xbox and PlayStation. But then once the sales started happening, freaking blew up. And I believe PlayStation had some issues upon release, which definitely didn't hold it up. But the Wii, fuck yeah, I was there for that one.
I think what helped them though is Xbox and Sony, they appeal to the more serious gamers, where Nintendo will appeal to a much wider audience.
Yeah. Nintendo kind of appeals to anybody who may even be slightly interested in gaming. From your hardcore guys to your not so hardcore. There's at least a handful of Nintendo games out there for you. And I think that comes from their philosophy of being essentially a toy maker. In a large sense, that's still what they're doing. They're making digital toys. That's whom they were way back in the 1800s, was a toy maker.
Yeah, cards. They were selling playing cards too.
They still make playing cards.
Yeah.
Nintendo.
I don't know what their market's like for them, but they still make playing cards. I should probably
Like
get a couple decks just to have playing cards that say Nintendo on it.
Nintendo
Yeah,
cards.
well, you got to keep making cards, in case this electronic game thing doesn't take off.
I wonder if they got a Metroid theme deck. That would be awesome.
I remember Nintendo, what also makes them great is they have a particular quality on their flagship games that if they don't meet, they're willing to just completely start all over.
Yeah.
to
As
remake.
evidence with Metroid Prime 4.
As well as one of the Zelda games. I forgot which one.
Was it Breath of the Wild?
No, I think it was Upward Skies, something Skies.
Skyward Sword?
Skyward Sword, yes. They completely scrapped the game, started all over because they said it just wasn't fun. They weren't having fun.
Yeah, it's one thing that seems to set Nintendo apart from the other companies is they like games.
Yeah, they make it. They try to produce that quality. And sure, when it comes to their third-party titles that they allow on their systems, not always quality. But their primary games, they're usually bug-free. You rarely, if ever, hear about a Nintendo flagship game releasing with any major issues on it.
Yeah.
Very good about quality control.
And most of their bug updates are fixing bugs that most people didn't even know existed.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I know that they're such a big company that they can afford to go bankrupt like 4 times.
Yeah.
So they're very wealthy.
The only people who knew those bugs existed were usually speedrunners because they were using the glitch to cut their times down.
Huh. The most extreme. Yeah. It's that's Nintendo, and I think they can do that because Xbox is a branch, a subsidiary of freaking Microsoft, you know? It's
Yep.
not Microsoft. Nintendo, just full stop, is Nintendo. They produce video games. That's all they do. In fact, at least out here in the West, they are probably one of the only companies that does that. That just they produce video games and they have a video game console that they make the games for. That's all they do. And I guess cards.
Now, I was surprised to find out, I didn't realize this at the time, GameCube wasn't a very good seller.
I felt that at the time, but as it aged, I think it's got a better reputation. I remember it being a pretty solid console.
Yeah, well, remember at the time I had been out of gaming for a little bit. I didn't
Yeah.
have an N64 at all. And I wasn't planning to get another console because I grew up a Vidiot. I was glued
Okay.
to video games all the time. And I was like, I don't want to get stuck back on that. And then I saw the commercial for Metroid Prime. I was like, yep, I'm getting a
Oh.
GameCube.
Well, I heard Metroid Prime was pretty good.
Yeah, the remaster is out on GameCube now. So that can be played. And
All
my,
right.
my big worry is that Metroid Prime 4 won't have the original GameCube style controls. I can understand why it wouldn't. Most people don't like it. I prefer that over the twin analog stick system, which people prefer that. I know you can do a lot more with it, but I just can't get a handle on those controls.
Yeah, all right. I hear you. Hey, give me a sec. I'll be right back.
So, Frederick,
Yes. Yeah, I never played.
how's the
GameCube.
practice coming along?
Oh, it's fun, man. You get to a point where you get in the zone, and you start thinking. You stop thinking too much about it, and you're just going from line to line and trying to make the slickest, smoothest, best line you can make. And it's fun. You forget what you're doing. You're in the moment, in the conversation, and then you step back and you can admire the progress you made after a little bit. It's fun. And I'm a lot less self-conscious when I'm inking somebody else's work. It's not. I'm not looking at my own work and judging it. It's a bit more freeing.
You know what? I haven't played a clip in a little bit. I need to do that, don't I?
It's time.
Yes, it's beyond time.
Stormcrow says, yes, I am. I think he means still in Florida.
Still in Florida, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I never get sick of this one. Let's go.
It's the same old theme since 1916. Eeyore, they're still fighting with their tanks and their bombs and their bombs and their guns. Eeyore, they are dying.
They're off to attack Haiti there. Let's pay back.
Yeah. The space pugs better watch out because here they come.
I don't think those space bugs could take on a platoon of cat marines. You know.
Yeah, but what happens when they have to go up against the cows?
The cows. Is that Jackie Chan?
No, I can't remember his name, but
Oh man. Yeah, you can't fight that. What do you want to do against that?
I have returned.
welcome back.
Yay.
So let's check out these magazines you got here.
These, yes. These are some of my favorite covers. I just like the art style. Although it is a provocative illustration, so obviously it's provocative. But they got some very nice interiors. I'm going to show off these ones because it has safer interiors. Let's put it that way.
Safe
They
for
have-
work.
You mean like
See-
they don't have like nails that jump out at you from the pages trying to attack you?
No,
and stuff?
more like lots of tits hanging out.
That's not dangerous, is it?
Well, we're on a live stream, you know.
Oh, forgot about that.
Yes, they always have these lovely wide open spreads, and I like the positioning of their titles that they introduce. They're usually well placed, take up a broad section with a lot of art, and of course, plenty of story for your avid reader here. But
Yeah.
this one has very detailed art.
Space pirates, like a space battle, it seems.
Yes, definitely taking place in space.
Dude, look
And
at the
this-
size of that ship. It takes up
Yeah.
both pages.
Now, the reason they do this, and this is actually why I like it as well, is they'd have minimal stories. Instead of them having the artist draw and then the stories written, it was stories came first. So the artist would take the stories and expand upon them and try to fill up the pages. So to give them kind of like these challenges, and they'd add in all this lovely freaking art into it. So you get plenty of these 2-page spreads that are just, I think, just magnificently detailed. And this is a common sort of layout. You have a single bubble up here, the single square panel, and then
Yeah.
an entire spread with plenty of text kind of spread throughout it for us to
Yeah.
read and dig into. I love how it's actually placed in the darker corners of the ship
Yep.
without any bubbles.
Yeah, you don't need
Um,
any bubbles, any framing. You just go with the white color.
Exactly.
On the
You get-
black space. Very good.
And
use of
including the
negative
moon.
space.
Right here, you use the negative space, which
Yeah,
this one
that's-
probably not as well placed because you do have some image kind of piercing the text, which is usually a no in
Yeah,
graphic
that's-
design anyways, but it works, it works.
Yeah.
And it's very artistic as well. You don't
Yeah.
see it a lot.
Yeah, very
You'll see that.
skillful use of lettering. I like that. Yeah.
Exactly. And here's another big spread using the exact same layout.
And you
But
got some
look at
screen
that.
tone here for the gray background,
Mhm.
gray tones. That's probably cut out screen tone, I would imagine.
Yes. Probably. All I
Yeah,
know
'cause
is it's
back in the
beautiful.
day they had no computer coloring, so that was the
Ooh,
option.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. No coloring, no computer coloring. And it's part of the art style back then. Probably why you get a lot
Oh
of
yeah,
it.
it
that-
was. It was. Yeah, you could
Mhm.
buy screen tone stickers that you would paste onto your page, and then you cut out around the shape.
Yes. I remember you showed off some of those. Kind of expensive, I believe.
Well, they're
The
expensive
Japanese
now.
one.
I don't know if it was the same back then because
Probably not.
prices shift. Now it's just I think it's because it's rare. You can only get them in
Mhm.
Japan. There's none that are made
Wow,
here. Maybe
yeah.
it was different back then.
Possible.
Uh,
I'd imagine it had to be with the amount of publications that were happening. They had to have an entire secondary market just to support it.
Yeah, it probably was more common, I would imagine. I mean, me and
Yes.
my friends I bought a bunch of like just transparent stickers that I could photocopy
Mm-hmm.
dots on, a dot matrix. And
Yeah.
I'd use that for my screen tone for a while. It was the poor man's screen tone, but it worked.
Now, what year are these magazines from?
They're between the 70s and the 80s. They are magazines because of the Comics Code. I think that's one we went over before. Because of the Comics Code, they had to just shift format. A lot of them just couldn't muster up to
because of
the
the
code.
Frederick Wortham pressure, seduction of the innocents drama. They created the Comics Code Authority to self-police comics, but that squeezed out the smaller players who were doing like the very successful horror comics and a lot of variety of topics that were allowed to exist, like war comics and more mature themes that were all kicked out of the comic scene because of the self-policing, maybe overreaching restrictions. So one of the
kind of like
solutions,
what a lot of YouTubers do to try and get around the algorithms.
yes, yeah. And the very simple solution Mad Magazine did, I think others did as well, was to just change formats, like James said. If you switch to a magazine, you don't fall under the same self-governing rules, and you just are dropped in the magazine section instead of the comics section, which back in the day was not a huge difference for sales.
Yeah,
This
semantics
story-
seems to be the primary navigation system for legalities.
Oh,
Yeah, they went with the format, so they had to print magazine size instead of comic size, which gave them more real estate, to be honest. Like, I wish American comics were a bit bigger. It'd be nice. Like, European format is so beautiful, man. It's so...
do a lot more with it. Make a page feel a lot more epic too, instead of all squeezed down.
Yeah, for sure.
This story I definitely need to tear into because I haven't read this one yet, but as I've been examining the art, and it's this crazy blend of body horror and machinery going on, something with a ship, possibly a giant alien. But as we are flipping through these pages, go backwards some, I've noticed, and this is just by going off of the art, you seem to have the similar, if not the exact same characters here at the top. Well, something else magnificent is happening down here.
Look how
involving-
easy it is to read. Like, he puts the black spots on the snake, and everything else falls into the background. It's well balanced.
Exactly. I mean, these were artists that have been, a lot of them were displaced by the Comics Code, and then kind of just, they found refuge here for a majority of their careers, writing
Yeah,
for
to
years.
be honest, they look like unsung masters, man. They look like really talented individuals who were just...
Yeah.
I
In
never
fact,
hear of their names, unfortunately.
Let's go ahead and see, because this is the first story right here. Let's see who the illustrator is. Publisher Warren, editor Will Richardson, managing editor Chris Adams, cartoon factory Thomas. Oh, okay, that's production. Let's see, where's the cover illustrator is Nestro Redondo. Authors and artists Vic Catan, Esteban Moroto, Alex Nino, and Frank Thorne. I heard of Frank Thorne and Alex Nino before. They are decently large names for this type of art style. And I believe they used to do comic books back in the day before the Comics Code forced them
Are
to.
they sound like they have Spanish or Italian names. Maybe they're foreign artists?
Possibly, but this was an American magazine produced in the U.S.
Yeah.
But
They-
then
I mean,
again,
they
it's not
could have been
unheard
in-
of.
Yeah, they could have been in the U.S. with Spanish and
Exactly.
Italian names. That's not...
It's not unheard of for people to come to the U.S. Look at Canada basically dominates the comedy market here in the U.S. Yeah. But this is an interesting one because each bubble, it seems the characters find themselves in more strife. Because you have this bubble up here, looks terrible enough. And you go to this one, it looks like something terrible is happening to this guy. And something happened to that dude. And then you go to this one, and it's just a gigantic pile of something or other made of grotesqueness. And
Just
this
like
stuff-
Mom used to make.
This stuff reminds me of the horror mangas that I've consumed. I bought like 3 of them. And
Looks like
this
living lasagna.
living lasagna mixed with spaceships, because down here you have these mechanical parts. You have this strange being here, and a lot of this is biological in nature mixed with mechanical, especially down here where it's all just sort of living lasagna, as you'd say it. Which unfortunately the pug name blocks it. Let me see if I could move it, turn it right that
A
way.
techno-organic mass.
Yeah. Very Cronenberg. Very Cronenberg. And then the next page, you have this strange creature with all these different limbs here.
It has heavy metal vibes. Remember Heavy Metal magazine?
This was around the same time, and they say this one pushed the limit beyond heavy metal, and that kind of was their thing. Whatever heavy metal did, they tried to do harder. That was this magazine, so it may have been a heavy metal ripoff to an extent, but
Competition is so good. Competition is healthy, and the customers are the one that wins. The win every time.
It's very Lovecraftian. I'm gonna have to dig into this story, and I'm looking at the detail, and it is ridiculous. So much detail in a lot of these pieces. Like there's some sort of strange fluid that falls down here, and then it spreads off this side, and then you can just follow it, and it's all well drawn. And frankly, it's like every single page I've seen so far follows the exact same format, but the spreads are all so magnificent. I could see myself buying these spreads and just putting them on the wall. I'm gonna have to take
sure, man.
up close photos of these babies because they are magnificent. I love them, and some of them can get very provocative. Even in the text, it's very edgy stories. A lot of them.
Please do send any photos you take of these my way. I would love to have a closer look at those.
Diane Jacklighter, the Huntress, this is the next story. This is actually a reoccurring story.
Oh.
This is a reoccurring character. I have another character that has her on the cover. But whenever they have these female protagonists, you will get them full nude, at least in 4 or 5 different angles. So I'm gonna leave it there before I dig into that story, because that may be where we enter the provocative nature of it all. But this first story seems to be extremely Lovecraftian, very Cronenbergian, and I'm gonna dig into that later on. Each one comes with 6 different stories. They're all on this front page here, listed in 2s with a brief synopsis.
Is it just comics, or are there text by authors as well?
There's some text towards the back, but it's mostly comics.
By the way, what's that advertisement right there, James? Is that an advertisement for a computer?
This is Star Wars Electronic Action Battle Computer. Yeah.
Sometimes it's fun to see the ads from
radio
50 years
controlled
ago.
sand crawler. This is a radio controlled sand crawler right here. And it
Radio
also has
controlled sand crawler.
a lot of them. Let's go to the back, check out some more right here.
Model kits, Battlestar Galactica. Now that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. The original Cyclone Raider. Let me move it this way. Get over the text. Cyclone Raider, Colony Viper, Battlestar Galactica kits. And they usually have some. Let's see if they have any more advertisements. Yes, for different books and full color sci-fi posters you used to be able to buy.
It kind of hurts now.
science
You
fiction,
kind of wish I could.
Check it out here. This page specifically. This is illustrated science fiction paperbacks. But this one I seen and I looked for it and I can't find it. It's
Illustrated
the
Dune.
Illustrated Dune. I want that. I want that. I was like, I can't order that.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, they got let's see, Buck Rogers,
Hold on, I'll be right
Space
back in a sec.
Wars, The Invasion of the Body Snatcher.
Do they have an address to like mail order these things on there?
I believe they do. It's on this.
You should send in an order just to see what the recipient does when they get the thing.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah. Look at this. Conan the Incredible Barbarian is back in print. Look at all these Conans. These are all different Conan
Wow.
covers. Yes. The exciting adventure paperbacks, Edgar Rice Burroughs classic novels. Check it out. An advertisement for Edgar Rice Burroughs. That's freaking badass. I like seeing that. And then, of course, on the other side, you had the 1984 magazines back issues. These are all back issues, and the back issues are $3 between, looks like $2.50 and $3.25 max. Like, dang, I wish I could order those. That's for sure. I like looking through this. You also have Star Trek maps, full color Star Trek star maps plus navigation manual.
Oh, wow.
Book of movie lists. Now available, supply limited. Blazing Comics. These are action comics and war comics. I've seen these before. They're actually really cool. See if I can show them off. Blazing Comics down here in this corner. These are war comics set in World War II. Those I want to get my hands on later on because that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's the history as well as the art.
Mm-hmm. And this is the paper. You can fill out, sell them what you want.
Yeah, they used to ask you to cut out a piece of the magazine and send it off.
Captain Company rush order form. You want a rush order. It's beautiful, man.
Don't forget to send proof of purchase.
And proof of purchase. Yep. And all of this, I found out about these magazines because I accidentally purchased one. I thought it was just a, at the time I was purchasing, what was it? It was small paperbacks of science fiction magazine, I believe.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just one of those, and I liked the cover, and I picked it up. And when I got here, I'm like, oh shit, this is black and white illustrations, which I absolutely freaking love and adore. And I didn't realize they were provocative illustrations at first either, because I didn't read the top text right here until I started digging in. And I'm like, oh boy.
It literally says provocative illustrated art, adult fantasy.
Yeah, but I got caught up in just the art itself. You know,
Yeah, you were looking at the provocative art instead of reading that it says provocative.
I was looking at the provocative art, man. Let's see if I got the issue right here. Let me get it out of its plastic. As soon as I got this issue, I went online and I ordered like 4 of them, and then I got a bunch of freaking not comic book, but magazine covers, and some cardboard backs for magazines.
Oh yeah.
But this was the one. This was the first issue I got.
Ooh, yeah.
Can you see why? I was like, I was looking at the text. I was like, dude, look at this cover.
Yeah, and to be fair, this one is not provocative on the cover like the others.
Yeah, well, it's got aspects. You got a naked chick right here, but
she's mostly hidden by this soldier guy.
Exactly. I didn't see that. I was focused on the soldier guy with the weird gun. I was like, dude, this is off the hook. In fact, let's see who did this cover. All right. Authors, illustrators. Cover is Jose Bea, B-E-A. So they hired a lot of Mexicans.
Yeah, I mean, it's cheaper, right?
Yeah, definitely. And another
Some Aztec artists.
Aztec artists. Yes, but I'm gonna look into some of these artists, find out what their story is, because I mean, look at this stuff. This is amazing, and it's become this almost. I don't want to say what's the right words I'm looking for. It's a hobby of mine to collect, but a little bit of a guilty hobby because they're provocative. In both text and literature as well, plenty of provocative literature. But at the same time, I just fall in love with the art. It's just really amazing. And
dude, it looks wilder than what was happening in comics at the time. Like, it looks really creative.
It is, dude. This is where the guys who were kicked out of comics went.
Yeah, it makes me think more of what Europeans are doing. And probably Americans would have been way more mature if we hadn't had that whole silly
Yeah.
seduction of the innocent craze.
I'm sure that was just used in some manner for corporate malfeasance.
Always is, man. It always is.
Yeah, but hey, they're out there, and I have at least one extra copy of one of these. So if we ever have a meetup, I'll bring them along to give away to people who want them.
So you're missing one issue to have the whole set. Is that correct?
For the 1994 issues, yes, and then
Okay.
I'll start collecting the 1984 issues.
Do you have any 1984 yet, or you haven't?
Yes, I have one 1984.
One, okay.
Yeah, but the good news is you can usually pick up 5 or 6 comics in a single bundle for like $40.
That's not so bad.
Now, about
Yeah.
how many are there in the overall set?
I think it was like 24 or 30. It wasn't a long run.
You know what? To think about it, that's probably the cost they would cost today if they came out new. Like it sounds like they kept their value at the very least.
Possibly, because you also got to factor in shipping costs. Some of them you can actually find for free shipping, which is good. But hey, it fit right there in my little niche prospects of collecting old literature.
It's fun, man. Especially the art's so wild. It's so wild.
Oh,
It's-
yeah.
You don't see this stuff online yet. People have not shared this kind of stuff. At least I don't know where to find it.
Definitely not. I'm going to be taking photos of. You can find archived photos of all of these archived, but they're niche. They're real niche.
Yeah, but
and
you
I
don't know
think
if you don't know they exist, you don't really stumble on.
it's a mix of its provocative nature and the edgy writing for sure, because they were not afraid to push envelopes back then. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, there's a lot less taboos, or there was less pushback on taboos.
Yeah, they were very taboo. Like one of the issues I did read, the last story was an entire story that was essentially a black joke. Let's put it that way.
Wait, when you say black joke, a joke about blacks or a dark humor joke?
Both.
Okay.
Let's just put it this way: the joke was on the white people at the end, but
okay.
it took a little while to get there. And
But
they made
it's
some
one that wouldn't fly today, huh?
I can't even really describe it on the stream.
Wow.
That's funny.
Yeah. What a world. But yeah, I still love the art, and I'm gonna look up the artists. And I'm gonna tell a friend of mine, because he runs a YouTube channel all about what Latin people did. It's called the Latin Slat, so it's a lot, Latin people and their achievements and stuff. So I think you might enjoy that. Man.
Focus on the Latin artists a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually movies and stuff, movies and music, but unsung artists, forgotten artists of the past, man.
Yeah, man, because the names don't ring a bell and the art looks so beautiful. It's a shame.
You're all like, I've been studying this for years. I've never heard of you guys.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, back then it was harder to find stuff. I mean, now with the internet, the most long lost thing that there's only one copy of, everyone can see it on the internet. It's no issue now. But back then, if you didn't know something existed, if it wasn't distributed in your town, you didn't even know to look for it. It's just...
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
It makes you wonder how some of these broke the barriers back then.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was much different. But to be honest, back then you had a lot less, how do you say, distractions as well. Like you had a lot of-
Competition?
no, distractions. You had a lot more free time to focus on long-term projects and your
Oh,
dream
yeah, that's true.
projects and things like that.
And probably a lot less red tape to deal with, too.
And a lot less fading attention spans.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
Because now when all our distractions are taken away, we kind of get all antsy and almost go out of our minds.
And this magazine looks like it's printed on newsprint as well, despite the magazine format. And
It's
probably
pulp.
didn't. It
It's
probably
pulp.
didn't cost a whole lot to produce.
I'd imagine not mass production, and it is pulp very much, you know. Open it up. Let's take the risk. Yeah, this is a good page.
I bet it sold well, dude. Like,
And a lot of these issues I have, this one feels untouched.
I could not have not bought this if I had seen it. Like, if I had stumbled onto this, there's no way I would not have picked this up.
You'll be that one guy with some artist name nobody's ever heard of. They're like, yes, none of you artists know this guy. That makes me special.
Well, at the time that
Okay,
came out,
just
I don't. I didn't even care what the names of the artists were back then. I was so young. I just thought, wow, this looks awesome. It's beautiful. I want to be able to copy what these guys are doing and be able to draw this myself, you know?
Definitely.
I've never been like the guy that needs to find the artist no one knows, or like the
Yeah.
stop.
I've seen YouTube videos where they hunt down an obscure figure. Like one I watched, it was all about on the Disney Channel. They would call them the wand IDs, where a kid would come out that's one of the actors, say, "I'm so and so from this show, and you're watching Disney Channel," and they would hold a wand out and like draw out a Mickey Mouse, ears or something, and
Yeah,
they
I
would use
remember
the
that.
effects to put it on the TV and say the Disney Channel. And it was a big thing they did for a while. And this guy decided to hunt down who was the first of the Disney actors to do a wand ID on Disney Channel.
Okay.
And it turned out it was like a no-name kid that popped up in that one commercial, the very first one, but he had to do all sorts of research to find this. It's like, you want to find someone obscure, there's probably some YouTuber who searched him out,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I told my friend once. On YouTube, there's a niche for everything.
Yeah.
There's a niche for somebody talking about politics while kayaking.
It's
I
true.
mean, talking about politics when you're not kayaking is just not the same, James.
Of course, right? Actually, reminds
It's
me
like,
of this
man, all this
video.
kayaking would be great if it wasn't for the politics.
When you're
I've seen this,
kayaking, you understand that you need both the right and the left, or else you're just going to turn in circles. You see what I mean?
That's right.
I seen this freaking amazing video where this woman is on her boat and it's just anchored or something. She's just chilling there. I think she's fishing, and then she turns around and there's a fucking seal on the deck of her boat.
Oh, I think I saw that one.
Yeah. And then she's like, "Oh, what are you doing here? Shoo, you got to get out of here. You got to go." And then surrounding her boat out of nowhere is a pod of orcas.
He's like, I'm not going in there.
Exactly. And they're just chilling. They're just looking at the seal like, hey, hand over the fish.
Hand over the seal and you'll be all right.
Exactly. Like, we know what we want. Give
Damn,
us
man.
the seal. Yeah.
That's
And she's all like, I don't know what to do. You gotta go.
a better
The
plot than Disney Star Wars.
Yeah. The seal's just right there. It's like, I'm going in there. Screw that. I'm staying right here.
The seal's sitting there on the edge of the thing, looking to the orcas, looking at humans, and goes, one way I'm lunch, the other way I get clubbed. What do I do?
Sitting on the dock of the bay.
Waiting for the okers to go away. He's sitting there all day. Fucking orcas.
That's funny.
I gotta refine that one because that was a good video, man.
That's funny, man.
That is nature, bro. Nature's
Yeah.
metal.
Yeah. Nature doesn't
Yeah.
give shit about your politics.
It doesn't. It wants the seal.
It wants to seal.
Nature
my dad
wants the seal.
My dad watched this thing a while ago. They were making a big deal out of it. They found a seal near death. They took him in, nursed him back to health. They had different vets and stuff from everywhere coming around. They spent a couple mil nursing this seal back to health. And then they were making a big deal out of it when they were releasing him back in the wild. They had TV news cameras there and everything. And they let him go off into the water. I think it was on the northern coast of Canada. And this seal started swimming out into the ocean. Got just a little bit out, and a big old orca came up and one chomp done.
Dang. That's how it happens. That's how it happens, man.
My dad thought it was the funniest thing in the world.
It's an orca snack.
It's like you spend all this energy trying to get a wild animal back to the wild, and it went and had the life of a wild animal. What did you expect? You know,
Yeah, exactly, right.
Right.
that was the
So
most expensive appetizer that orca ever had.
I mainly only caught the ending of that. Where did the animal come from?
It was a seal that they found on shore near death, and they spent like a mil or maybe couple mil nursing him back to health. Made a big production out of releasing him into the wild. When he went swimming off into the water, an orca came up and just chomped him.
Oh, there you go.
Wait, they spent $1 million?
Yeah, I think this was back in the 80s or something.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's what I said. Most expensive appetizer that orca's ever eaten.
I mean, you would have spent $600 on it, and it would still be a lot of money.
Right?
But $1 million? That's crazy money.
Going to the vet. I found this seal. He's going to die. Vet, can you help? Yes, give me $600. I got 50. Get out.
Yeah. The women look beautiful in those comics, James.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's provocative. They got to be.
And there they are, provoking.
I was looking for more pages, but I kept running across snotty pages. Like, all right, we'll just stick with the cover.
Keeping the good stuff from us, eh?
Is it good? I don't know. Maybe. I'm mainly in it for the articles.
Of course.
Well, the
I need to set my mind on Rush Limbaugh. I was listening to him way back when, and the subject of Playboy was in the news or something.
Yeah.
And he said, Playboy, I only read them for the pictures. I hardly ever look at the articles.
I do remember them actually being known for having good articles.
I think that's just a bunch of dudes trying to sound more intelligent than they were when they would say, I only read the articles.
I don't know, man. Have you read them? We need to bring up some Playboy articles.
I was a bad teenager.
Yes.
I didn't read articles.
Playboy articles. Let's see what we got here. 10 iconic Playboy articles everyone should know. The Bogman, the Margaret Allwood, 1991. The Bakery Attack by Haruki Murakami, 1992. Interesting. See, Murakami, perhaps the most well-known contemporary Japanese writer, published the second bakery attack in Playboy before it appeared in his 1993 collection, The Elephant Vanishes. In the humorous tale, a man attempts to break a spell set after a thwart attack on a bakery by staging an ambush on McDonald's. I'm telling you, they got articles and porn. I mean, holy shit, they're giving you everything. Articles and porn. No wonder they're still around.
I didn't know they still were. I thought they went under.
No, they're gone, right? Like The Sun inherited. They started putting men on the cover.
Yes, I heard about that.
Yeah, I think they're done. It was
turns out identity politics and Playboy don't mix. Who'd have thunk it?
But I think it wasn't Playboy also a kind of Jeffrey Epstein kind of setup. Like they had tunnels.
I have no idea.
Yeah, they found plans for the tunnels that led to celebrity houses that were kind of neighboring the property and stuff. And you'd have like celebrity parties. Everyone knows about the Playboy Mansion, right? It was like
Yeah.
on the news and everything. But they take the celebrities and have them sleep with one of the younger models, and whoop, got you on film. She was underage. We kind of own you now. So I think,
One of those deals.
yeah, I think Hugh Hefner was also one of those Epstein type setups.
Yeah. Oh, dang.
That's messed up. If it's true.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of things hint to that.
It wouldn't
The tunnel-
surprise me if it turned out to be true, but I don't think we have any actual.
Yeah, I mean, we're not a court of
Evidence
law.
ourselves.
We're not going to prove it here, but I'm just putting that out there that a lot of people think that's what was going on.
I will have to look into this later on.
Yeah, I mean, might make
Yeah,
for
you
an
research these
interesting,
types of things already, don't you, James?
Yes, and I do work for people who have lots of very well placed connections.
Oh, interesting.
So I'll ask. I'll see what's up.
Yeah, keep me in the loop. I'm always interested with that stuff.
And James is really good at playing the real life version of 6 Degrees to Kevin Bacon.
Sometimes. It's mainly
Really?
the people I work for, and I'm their video editor. So you learn as you go,
Yeah, pick up a few tips, right?
You pick up a few tips, learn some strange things. Your life starts, the way you see the world slowly shifts and changes because of that for which
yeah.
has been unveiled to you.
It's true. I mean, there's so much of what we learned in school growing up on TV was just made up, and it's people are waking up now.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
they're waking up. I think we're going to start wrapping up. Anything else you guys want to cover before we do?
I think that's all for me.
Yeah,
Got it all out of my system for now.
All right, then I guess we'll go into them parting plugs. So,
Yahoo!
James.
Hello, I'm a space bug, but while I'm on Earth, I like writing short stories and releasing my worldwithoutendlore.substack.com. Go check out worldwithoutendlore.substack.com, where you can find excellent short stories. I just released a dual short story. If you're a premium $5 subscriber, you get both stories. If you're not, you get $5 subscriber short story. $5. But if you don't, you can still get one of the most amazing and hilarious series of stories currently being produced by a pug, and that is the Billy Bob series. The latest one is for free at worldwithoutendlore.substack.com, and it also comes with a free downloadable PDF. So it's not just a bunch of text on a page, but it's a bunch of text on pages you can download. You can go ahead.
So PDF stands for what? Pug dictated file.
There you go, as they say.
I knew
From
it.
the slave races. Yeah, and the other story will be released for free in a couple of days. About 12 days. You're going to get that, and it is actually a really great space war sci-fi story set in a very desolate universe. And so far, all the readers seem to really enjoy it. So I'm actually very excited to release that. You can get that now for free for $5 at worldwithoutendlore.substack.com.
Nice.
Awesome. Frederick.
I make comics.com. I'll take you forward you to redtailcomic.com, where you can see the progress I'm making on the comic book. You can see samples of the pages, and you can also go in the media links and see a couple of interviews I've done on the topic, as well as my social media links, taking you to my YouTube channel, where I have a show streaming on Tuesdays called Proof of Comics, with many of the same characters that you see here on Weekly Wing It on Mondays. So stay tuned for that. And also on Wednesdays, I'm part of the Comics Gate Commandos crew, so check us out every Wednesday on PQ Vox's channel as well. So a lot of interesting stuff coming out. I've got a comic coming out soon. It's happening, man. We're having a lot of fun. We're being very creative and creating the culture of tomorrow.
All right. And Raven just stopped by in the chat. How's it going, Raven? Good to see you tonight. You can find my stuff on Amazon.com, where you'll find Haley Star Bad Kitty and Bad Kitty Haley's World. Magic fueled sci-fi adventure, good for all ages. And you can also find me over on Substack under Frequency Studios, where I have a short story out called New World Detectives: The Legend of Shalar, which takes place 6 months after book 2. All right. Thank you, everyone, so much for stopping by tonight in the chat on the panel. Good time as always. If you enjoyed this presentation, hit the like. And if you didn't, we appreciate you stopping by. We'll see you next time. And God bless.
Hey ho, have a good o. We love you. We tolerate your presence.
That's a little too much authenticity there, James.
Come on, bye.
Well, goodbye,
back
everybody. See you soon.
Yeah, dude. A week from now, 7 days. 7 days.
Tomorrow night. Yeah, you get
tomorrow.
that. You got your show tonight, tomorrow night as well,
Yeah.
James, right?
Yes, where I'm a sandwich, a bigot sandwich, and you can find us at World Without
Bigot
End.
Sandwich.
Lord, on that there YouTubes.
Sandwichwithoutend.com. I mean, worldwithoutend.com.
Hardy har.
Good night.
Loud noises.
Music from the 90s.
I do like music from the 90s.
Yeah, it was a good time.
The
Spiky
80s was
hair.
awesome too.
Hopefully, we'll have a new decade of wonderful, creative musicians, writers, artists.
Like Bill Kid.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
he's
AI
talented.
engineers.
Jewish space laser.
Good night, everybody.
Bonsoir.
We will miss you.